Hi, my name is Brittany Hansen, and I was accepted to the Disney College program.
This is gonna be the best day of my life.
So, like I said, my name is Brittany. I was accepted to the Disney College program for the Spring Advantage 2015. I will be working in the role of merchandise. I'm extremely excited to be going down to Disney in February. I move in February 2nd, and I move out August 7th, just in case anyone's wondering what my dates are. I'm extremely excited. Like I said, this has been my dream since junior high, probably even before that. My family's a huge Disney family, so being given the chance to be able to work for the Disney company is just absolutely amazing. It's something that I hope to continue after I graduate from school. I really would like to work for the Disney company in any type of capacity. It's kind of funny because when I was in junior high, when we graduated 8th grade, we had to do this thing where they had a huge board, and it was our pictures and then our baby picture and then what we wanted to be when we grew up. And everyone else had these really cool like aspirations, like I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut, a lawyer, like your typical kind of careers for when you grow up. And then there's me, little Brittany Hansen, who wants to be a Disney World cast member. I honestly didn't care if I was sweeping up trash on Main Street or if I was working with the characters or was a character. I mean, at that point I wasn't really educated on what working for Disney was like, so to me, doing whatever was absolutely fine. I'm extremely excited to be given the role of merchandise. It wasn't my first choice. It actually was kind of lower on the bottom of my list, but after doing a lot of research and thinking, I'm very excited to be working in merchandise. I love working with people. I love helping people. So I believe that role is definitely going to give me that kind of experience with the guests, to be able to work one-on-one with a lot of people and to talk with a lot of people, because I love talking. I mean, you guys will notice that throughout my vlogs, I talk a lot. So definitely, I think the role is going to be absolutely perfect for me. So just a little bit about me so you guys know. I am going to make another vlog that's going to be more in-depth about myself, and I'm going to actually go through my roommate survey. But currently right now I am a junior social work major at Lewis University, which is in Romeoville, Illinois. For you guys who don't know where that is, it's about 30 to 35 minutes from Chicago. It's not too far. I mean, it's not too small, too like out in the middle of nowhere. Like I live in Morris, Illinois, so that's kind of a small little country town out in the middle of nowhere. But I absolutely love going to school in Romeoville, and I absolutely love living in Morris. So I mean, it's kind of two great places that I live in, and I wouldn't change either of those for the world. I'm gonna miss them a lot when I'm down in Disney, but I mean, I'm gonna be in Disney. I'm not gonna miss them that much. So yeah, like I said, I'll do a little bit more about me. I don't want to go too in depth on stuff about me because I want this video to be more about my acceptance and leading up to my acceptance. So let's start with my application. I decided to apply for the Disney College program on September 10th, and I've been going back and forth on it and applying for this semester just because I kind of wanted to just finish my 2 years of school and be done and then do it like after, so apply my last spring semester. But I kept seeing like all the little ads on Facebook and getting all the emails from Disney about apply for the college program. So I was like, you know, I really don't care if I don't graduate on time anymore. I need to do this. So after class that day, I texted my mom. I was like, I'm applying. Like, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. I want to be down in Disney in the spring. So I went and applied, like I said, on September 10th, and a couple hours after that, I got my invitation for the web-based interview. And from what I heard, the web-based interview wasn't really anything to worry about. I mean, you wanted to be accurate and answer the questions, definitely like how your personality is, so don't lie. It's like the biggest advice I can give to you guys is do not lie on the web-based interview. If you do lie, you may not get accepted for the right reasons, or you may be put in a role that does not fit your personality at all. So you really want to answer honestly on the web-based interview. I did, and I feel like some of the questions are kind of hard to answer when you want to put strongly disagree, and you know that like you shouldn't be putting strongly disagree because it's not really with what the Disney company strives for. But you still need to do it just because, like I said, Disney needs to know who you are and what your personality is like so they can have the best possible people working for them. So after that, they automatically tell you if you move on to the next stage or not of the interview process. And I thankfully got to move on from that stage, and I got the interview or the the invitation for the phone interview a couple hours after that. And up until that point in the application and interview process, I was pretty calm. I wasn't really worried about anything, and I felt like everything was going really smooth. Till I opened that email and saw what dates and times I could pick for my phone interview. The only dates and times available were that very next day, so September 11th at 8:45 in the morning, which wouldn't work because it's the next day. I don't have time to prepare. I want to be prepared. I had tons of notes that I wanted to go through, so only preparing that night would not have been enough time for me. And I had class at 9:30 that day. I don't skip class ever, so I couldn't skip class to do that, even if it is for Disney. Um, so I decided to go with that following day, which is Friday, September 12th. And there was various times throughout the day. That day was pretty open. It wasn't very picked over. But unfortunately, Fridays are my busy days. So the only time that I could do my interview was at 7 a.m. that morning before I had work. So I was, those next 2 days, that night and the day after, I was scouring the internet for possible interview questions, going over all my notes that I had been accumulating throughout the summer, and just trying my best to be prepared for this interview that I felt like I did not have enough time to prepare for. I'm a very prepared person and I'm very organized, so to not have that much time to prepare for my interview, I was extremely freaked out. Like, my mom probably got tired of hearing how scared I was to do this interview because I didn't have enough time. So eventually it came to that day, and I had planned to go do the interview in my car, but I was like, on the day, of course, being me, I was like, no, I don't want to look like the weirdo who's sitting in the car talking on her phone in the middle of the parking lot. So I decided to go to one of the study rooms in my dorm that I live in. Right now I'm at home because I'm in fall break, but normally when I'm at school I live in the dorms. So I decided to go to like one of the study room lounge kind of areas that my dorm has, and I thought it was perfect. There was no one in there. It was nice and quiet. I had a huge table I could spread out all my stuff on, so I had my notes spread out, my laptop in front of me because I was going to record my phone interview so I could put it on YouTube for everyone to see. And I was all set. I got there 15 minutes before my interview because they can, no, actually it was more like 20. Yeah, it was more like 20 because they can call you 15 minutes before your scheduled time, at your scheduled time, or 15 minutes after your scheduled time. So I wanted to make sure I had more than enough time to get set up and prepared and ready for the interviewer to call me. So I was sitting there going through my notes, listening to Disney music, watching Disney videos on YouTube, trying to get myself pumped for this interview, even though it was like way too early in the morning. Um, so I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden my phone dinged, and I was like, it's way too early for any of my friends to be up. Like, there's no way someone's texting me at this time. I look at my phone and I have a voicemail, and my heart just like dropped. I was like, I know what this is. And I look and it's a blocked number. I was like, oh my gosh, this was Disney. Like, I lost all my chances. Goodbye, Disney college program. Like, I was so upset. I listened to the voicemail, and it was my interviewer. She introduced herself, and she said that she was calling for my phone interview and that she would call me back in a few minutes. And then I kind of got like a burst of, I guess, excitement, nervousness, all those wrapped into one. I jumped up and I decided to go outside where I thought I can get the best phone reception. And you got to take into account that I live in Illinois, so it was one of these mornings where it was very cold, unfortunately. So I'm sitting there in sweatpants that I slept in and a t-shirt that I slept in, kind of like hunched over with my phone up to my ear, with all my papers out in front of me on this table. People are walking past me going to breakfast, and here I am sitting there waiting for this interview, and she calls, and it went great. she asked me the typical questions at the beginning, just information about my program, like my first and last name, that was correct, my address was correct. I was applying for the Spring Advantage was my first choice, and I put the Spring as my second choice because I really did want into this program, so I figured putting both would give me a better chance of getting in. So she went ahead and went through all that kind of basic information, just confirming what I put in my application was correct. And then after that, she went straight into my work experience, asking me about previous jobs I've had. And on from that, she asked me questions related to the three roles that I had picked. My top three roles were character attendant, attractions, and vacation planner. So she asked me some of those kind of questions related to my work experience and how I would handle certain situations, such as like emergency situations, or how I would deal with being out in the heat, or if it was raining, how I would handle that. And she also asked me a couple questions about roles that I did not apply for. She asked me a few things about transportation, if I was okay with speaking in front of large groups of people, because you do have to do that when you're working on the trams and when you're sending out announcements to groups of people using the Disney transportation. She also asked if I would be okay with driving like the trams or any other type of equipment they have out in the parking lots. And then she asked me some questions related to merchandise, which makes sense to me now because I am in merchandise. But she asked me if I've had any retail experience, if I'm okay with handling large amounts of money, and how I am with talking to people. Which, I mean, I emphasize that a ton in my interview, that I love talking to people. I mean, I talk 24/7. Everyone's trying to tell me to be quiet all the time, so I definitely emphasize that. And then afterwards, she asked me some questions about, what were they? She asked me some questions. I'm trying to remember. It seemed like such a long time ago I had this interview. She asked me if I applied to the Disney look, and I do have 6 tattoos. I mean, you can't see any of them right now because I'm pretty covered right now because it's cold here. But like, I have one on my wrist. So, and I have one on my upper arm that's visible when I'm wearing a t-shirt, and I have one on my ankle that's visible when I'm wearing shorts. So I had to go through and give her measurements on all of the tattoos. So if you do have visible tattoos that won't be hidden underneath your costume, make sure you kind of have a good estimate of how big they are, because thankfully I know how big mine are, because I mean, I'm pretty obsessed with my tattoos. I have 6 and I want a ton more, so I kind of know how big they are and all that. So definitely make sure that you know that kind of stuff if you do have tattoos, and know like how many piercings you are and what the names of the piercings are, because she did ask me that. Thankfully, I only have my ears double pierced and my cartilage pierced, so that's pretty easy to explain. But I mean, if you have like different kind of ear piercings, or like your nose pierced or something, make sure you know how to explain that to the interviewer, because it's definitely something they asked me, and I've heard they ask a lot of people about that. So make sure that you know those things. And then after that, my interview was pretty short, by the way. It was only about 15 minutes, which is typical. I mean, so I guess it wasn't that short, but I've heard of people who applied around the same time as me as theirs being longer. So I was kind of upset that mine wasn't a little bit longer, because I love talking and I feel like I had a ton to talk about. She asked me at the end if I had any questions for her, so I did ask if how she got her start with the Disney company, because it's something I'm personally interested in doing. I want to work for the Disney company. And then I asked her if there's any ways for me to work for the Disney company with my social work degree, because it's kind of something I'm interested in. And I don't know how I'm going to work with the Disney company using my social work degree, so it was kind of something I wanted to ask her just to kind of see what she would say. And then after that, my interview was done. I mean, it was to the point and simple. I mean, there wasn't any curveballs really thrown at me, which I was really happy about. The only thing I was upset about with my interview was that she didn't ask me the typical, why do you want to work for the Disney company? Yeah, and that kind of upset me, just because I had like this huge, great explanation plan. So that was a little upsetting, but otherwise it went great. So then after that, the waiting game started. I waited 3 weeks. 3 weeks to get my acceptance, and finally, I check my email like all the time. I would check it probably 20 times a day, because it's on my phone, so I check it all the time, trying to see if I got accepted or not. I'd be checking my dashboard all the time to see if I got accepted. And finally, I'm sitting in philosophy class at 12 o'clock on October 3rd, and I look at my email, and I didn't even open it. I just saw congratulations from the Disney recruiting email address, and I knew that was it. I was accepted. I started crying. I had to get up, and I had to call my mom and call my best friend, and that's pretty much where I am now. I mean, now it's just a waiting game till I go move down there in February. I'm reading tons of things, watching tons of videos, so I'm extremely, extremely excited. I have to like contain myself so I don't burst with excitement because I'm so excited for this program. It's been my dream for so long, so to get accepted, it's just, I don't even have the words to explain it. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm definitely excited to be sharing my journey before, during, and after with all of you. So please comment, subscribe, like, anything. This is my first vlog, so any comments or helpful like tips or anything would be greatly appreciated, because I know there's probably some things I'm doing wrong I can change. So any help would be greatly appreciated. My next vlog, even though I have roommates, I'm gonna go over my roommate survey and just kind of explain a little bit more about myself, because I feel like that's important. I want to get to know people and kind of like get to know people before I even get down there. So look for that. That should be coming up in like the next week or so. I'm busy with school, midterms, and everything, so try and get that up as soon as possible. So until then, have a magical day.